couple of weeks ago, I attended an event in New Jersey that we booked for one of the violinists on my team. Laura just joined the company in August, and when I flew to New York to film her demos last summer, she was really excited but a little nervous. I kept reminding her to look up and try to smile at the camera. It was a big transition from the types of performances that she was used to. Fast forward a few months later, and y'all, I barely recognized her. She was literally gliding and spinning all over the dance floor, smiling at guests and totally rocking the performance. And I thought, oh my gosh, this can be learned. So let's back it up 22 years. My name is Celeste V, and I've been spinning in high heels with my violin since 2003. In 2022, I started a company called Violin Event Entertainment, where I now manage a whole team of stunning violinists and book them for events all over the country. This podcast is for them and any other musicians out there who want to explore and learn more about the performing and entertaining side of things. Maybe you want to go solo with backing tracks for events. Maybe you want to perform in a rock band, or maybe you want to be the next Lindsey Stirling and play for sold-out concerts. The information that's going to be shared on this podcast will help you in any of those areas and more. Here's what you can expect. Each week, I will be sharing advice on a huge array of topics like how to build a set list, what gear to buy, how to practice with movement, getting better at improv, and so much more. But I'm just one person with one story, and I don't have all the answers. So I'm also going to be interviewing other amazing violinists and musicians who have built successful careers in the glam gigging world. We have each figured this out on our own with basically no roadmap to follow, and so I'm really excited for you to hear their stories and advice also. Thanks for tuning in to my first episode, and I can't wait to connect with each of you. Are you a classically trained violinist dreaming of stepping out of the orchestra and into the spotlight, but maybe the world of solo gigs feels intimidating? You're not alone. Welcome to the Glam Violinist, the podcast that empowers classically trained musicians to build thriving careers as sought-after entertainers. I'm your host, Celeste V, and each week we'll break down the secrets to getting the gigs you've been dreaming of. Get ready to unleash your inner rock star and turn your passion into a paycheck. Let's get glamorous. Today's episode is, what is a glam violinist and how do I become one? So I was trying to figure out how to describe what it is that I do, what it is that we do, other people in our industry. And the best way I can describe it is it's a glam violinist. It's very glamorous. It's very showy. It's more flashy than your typical violinist. And so it's not what people often think of, although it's becoming so much more popular. And that's the reason that I want to help other people discover this. So I'm going to break this down into 4 steps. Number 1 is stage presence. Number 2 is choosing songs and set lists that resonate with your clients. Number 3 is getting the right gear. That's really important, and I'm going to break that down in more detail. And number 4 is marketing, marketing, marketing. Those are the steps, so let's break it down. A glam violinist is more about performance. It's really thinking of yourself as an entertainer first and a musician second. And that's a major mind shift for most classical musicians. And that's where people get a little hung up. So that's what I'm always trying to reiterate. Entertainer first, musician second. It doesn't matter if you're performing in a group or solo. It applies to both. So what does that mean to be an entertainer? It has to do with stage presence, which is confidence, having charisma and energy in your performance, just emotional energy even. People can see the energy that's coming out of your face as you perform. And it's also making eye contact with your audience. That is one of the biggest things that makes our performance so unique, is that it's not just a musician who's in their own little world performing for themselves and playing music without connecting with the people around them. Stage presence, that audience engagement, is making eye contact so that the guests feel like they're a part of the story. They're a part of the performance. They realize that you are there for them. And when you make that eye contact with them, that magical moment happens. There's just an energy, there's a spark that happens. I can't explain it, but if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. So stage presence is huge. Another part of entertaining, as opposed to just playing music, is movement. So that's a little different for everybody. I love to spin. I'm all over the place. I'm kind of goofy and I don't really have a lot of shame in my game. But graceful movement really enhances the performance. So moving in such a way that is natural, fits the music, fits the vibe, and also just kind of taking up space, not just remaining stationary. And I remember learning in choir in high school that when you have a group of people and they're all stationary, think of a choir standing on a stage, one person coughs or turns to look at a sound, all it takes is that one little tiny piece of movement, and the human eye is drawn to that movement. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's just that we tend to gravitate toward things that are moving. And so that's another part of the performance aspect, that entertaining part. The last part of that entertainment, I would say, is the appearance. Having your attire, your hair, your makeup, if you wear makeup, those things are really, really important because we are the entertainment, and the guests that are attending these events are spending a lot of time and money on their appearance. They're trying to make an impression on their guests if they're the guest of honor, but they're also trying to impress each other. So they're always showing up with their A game. And if we show up with less than that, it's sort of disrespectful to the client. I mean, think about if Taylor Swift showed up to a performance and she was wearing a baggy t-shirt and no makeup. Yeah, she would still sound great. Like, everybody would love her songs, but we want our performers to look good. So that's a huge part, is intentionally thinking about what you're going to wear, how you're going to dress. So beyond those skills, there are some other important parts of being a glam violinist. You have to be really versatile. The ability to play different genres. I mean, people are going to ask for things across the board, and you have to be able to get outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you're really okay with playing slow ballads, but somebody is asking for more upbeat music, or you're having to play with the DJ, or they're asking for an old song from the 1940s. It could be anything, or it could be from a different culture or genre. Those are all really important parts, of course, of being a glam violinist. It's not just about having a little set list that you put together of songs that you like. Secondly is adaptability, and that's the flexibility to adjust on the go. So you can plan a set list, but you also have to be aware of what guests are responding to. And you have to be checking it out, feeling things out, and willing to say, okay, they're really enjoying this vibe, so let's do more of those types of songs. That's a very, very important part of this type of performance. On-site changes at events happen all the time. So if you're performing for a wedding or even a corporate event or a birthday party, they're going to come up and say, hey, can we do an announcement here? Sure, of course, you have to be willing to pause. Hey, can we have you set up over here instead? Can you play here instead? We're going to shift this timeline around. This happens almost every single event. As a matter of fact, that same gig I started this show off with, where Lara was performing, she learned a song for their first dance, and they came in to practice their first dance right before the doors opened, and they changed the song on the spot. And she had learned it, and we didn't throw a fuss. She's just like, this is the song they want to dance to. We're gonna go with it. Thankfully, they ran through it a couple of times, but you just have to be really willing to try to make it work to the best of your ability. And it's a lot about just kind of letting go of your ego. It's not about you. It's about the performance. It's about everybody having a good time, and it's about the client being happy at the end of the day. So those are really important parts. And then, of course, this goes for anything, but you have to be professional, punctual, reliable, and you have to have good communication skills with both your clients and with the planner, with the DJ, and just be willing to collaborate with other people who are there on site. Okay, now let's talk about the types of events that a solo violinist, for example, typically would play for. Obviously, you have weddings, and that includes ceremonies, but more and more people are moving toward wanting a violinist more often for cocktail hour or reception, as opposed to a wedding ceremony. That doesn't mean you won't still do ceremonies, but really, if you want to become a glam violinist, you're going to end up playing more at the reception. It's more wireless, it's more center of attention as opposed to just background music. Corporate events are another huge one, of course. There's so many different types. There's fundraisers and galas, cocktail parties, networking events, product launches. There's just all kinds of grand openings that people like to have live entertainment for. And those are all kind of improved, I would say, with the addition of live music, but it's a different vibe than a wedding. So again, you're having to keep an eye out for the demographics and the people who are actually attending and what kind of music they are enjoying. You want to find out as much as you can beforehand, but so much of it you really can't figure out until you're there and you feel it. But until then, build that set list, play it exactly verbatim. The more you do this, the more you will be comfortable with making changes on the fly. Now, there are different client demographics that would appeal to different people. Maybe you come from a background that has music that's a really rich part of your own culture and your own upbringing. Obviously, lean into that because you're going to know music that appeals to people who are in the same demographic. However, maybe you are just completely classical and that's the only music you know. Then you're going to have to kind of figure out where you fit, and not just where you fit, but what you enjoy. Having a more targeted demographic helps with your marketing. It helps with your set lists. It helps you to not have to be so versatile. So that's something that you want to really think about as you're planning what area of entertainment you want to go into. So niches are really powerful and they allow you to differentiate yourself from every other violinist out there. So again, targeting a specific culture or a specific music style that really appeals to you would be incredibly helpful. As you may know, violin event entertainment got started in the South Asian wedding industry. That's kind of our niche. And we still do other types of events, but that's what has helped us to grow because we've found something that we really are good at and something that we really enjoy. And that has been a great niche for us. But there are so many different cultures around the world who celebrate with music. And whenever they are having an event, they're going to be looking for musicians who can play the music that they want to hear. So if you have a specialty in Latin music, or you have a specialty in Persian music, or you have a specialty in hip hop, whatever style you love to play, that is going to differentiate you and allow you to draw a more dedicated client base. No matter which demographic you choose, you're going to need some basic equipment that you're going to use for pretty much any type of event that you play for. There are a few key decisions you need to make. For example, are you going to play an electric violin or an acoustic violin with a pickup? Either way, you have to be able to amplify the instrument. Of course, with an electric violin, you just plug it in like an electric guitar. It's designed for that, super easy. With an acoustic, I would recommend having some type of pickup that either attaches or is built in so that you can amplify it easily either through a 1/4-inch cable or through a wireless system. Wireless systems are highly recommended for glam violinists because it allows you to move around and to do all of the things that I've been describing so far. I've always used either Shure or Sennheiser because they are kind of the industry standard, but there are others that are out there that are good. You just want to make sure that you are buying something that's really quality. We're going to go into that a lot more in future episodes. Amplification can be provided by the DJ if you're working at an event that has a DJ, but there will be events where there isn't one, so you're going to need to have a small speaker and a stand of some kind. Besides the speaker and the violin, you're going to need a laptop or an iPad to play the backing tracks. You're going to need a bunch of cables, and you want to have different alternatives on those cables, especially if you're working with a DJ, so that you can plug in different ways depending on the equipment that they're bringing. And then you might want to have an iPad for sheet music when you're first learning songs. It's good to have it there on the side, but keep in mind you don't want to have your eyes down. If you want to be a glam violinist, you got to have eyes up, so you want to have those songs as memorized as possible. Speaking of set lists, that's a really important part of this process as well. It's important to have a bit of variety. Even if you're playing for a specific demographic, the people attending that event are going to have different musical tastes and styles of their own. They may have some in common with each other, and they may have some that are similar, but there could be other people who want to hear certain songs from a certain decade because they're the grandparents, or they could be wanting more current songs because they are a younger demographic. The point is that you want to have a little something for everyone in your set list. That's always been my motto. Even if it's just one or two songs, it makes them feel included so that they don't think that you are only playing for the other people on the other side of the room. As soon as you play a song that somebody knows and loves, that's going to make them feel like they are a part of the event. It's going to make them love you. It's going to make them love the party host. It's going to make them happy, and it's going to basically make the whole event better. So remember that it's about the people who are listening and what music they like. It's not about really what you like. Now, it is important to pick songs that you sort of enjoy playing and songs that sound good on the violin, but that is not the most important part. The most important part is that you are playing the songs that people are enjoying. In general, humans are drawn to things that are familiar, things that are comfortable. And so if they know the song, they're going to enjoy it so much more. It just makes them light up. That is absolutely so important. Now, the other thing you might want to include when you're building a set list is a couple of pieces that are a little more unexpected where you get to show off. If you've got just some crazy technical chops and you want to go to town, pick a song or two where you can really demonstrate your skills and make people stop and go, wow, that's absolutely okay. You just don't want that to be the common theme throughout. Always try to allow your client to choose a song or two that is special to them. Normally you want to save that for those special moments, but this is also a really good way for you to add songs to your repertoire. And over months and over years of doing this, you're going to be gathering data that is so valuable of the types of songs that people like, especially if you're playing in a specific demographic that may not be as familiar to you. So allow them to request special songs. Constantly be adding songs to your repertoire that are new and maybe unfamiliar, and then as you find that maybe one song's been requested over and over, think about adding that to your regular repertoire. Another thing when you're building a set list is trying to avoid dead air. Now, everybody has a different opinion on this. I personally prefer to build my set lists more like a DJ set, where the songs are shortened and they kind of blend together. I don't mix them on the fly like a DJ because I don't have enough hands to play the violin and mix at the same time. But you can use a simple editing software like Audacity to create set lists that have shorter versions of those songs. If you think about the way that people respond to a song, is when you first start playing and they recognize the song, you'll see their eyes light up and they go, "Ooh, I love this song." That's the first minute. And then after about 60 seconds, it just turns into background music, which is fine. They're still enjoying it, but they're not really paying attention anymore. By the third minute, they're bored. They've moved on, and that song is no longer having an impact on your audience. You have an opportunity about every 2 minutes, every 1 to 2 minutes, to make somebody's eyes light up and go, "Ooh, I love this song." So think about that when you're building your set lists. How many of those moments do you want to create? Now, once you've built your set lists, the important part is start getting gigs. And marketing your services is one of the hardest parts of being a violinist on your own because you really have to go out there and find the business. Some of you are already doing this and you know how hard it is to create profiles on Gig Salad and on The Bash and on Thumbtack and on all the other gig sites. I also want to just point out a few important things when it comes to marketing. So if I had to choose just one place to have a presence online, I would choose YouTube. It's because you can create a short bio, you can post all of your videos and shorts, and you can organize them into playlists that allow your potential client to see all the videos that you have made and the different styles that you can play. And maybe if they're planning a wedding, you have a wedding playlist and they can see, oh, well, what does this violinist typically play for a wedding? It's a much more organized platform than some of the other social media platforms where things are just kind of in chronological order. It's still important to have those, though. Instagram is a great place to demonstrate your skills, to interact and to engage with other potential clients and with other vendors. TikTok, of course, is a great place to connect with potential clients. Facebook, if you are looking for ways to share your work, any of those platforms are going to help you to do that. I would recommend having a website, even if it's not a really huge, involved website. just having a simple free website where you have links to your YouTube videos, a short bio, a little bit of information about the types of events that you'd like to do, some professional photos, that's going to give the client a very quick way of understanding your vibe. And that's what you want to get across in that website. It's like, what is your style? What's it like to work with you? They're going to get a lot of information just from what you put there, even if it's very, very simple. Landing page, one page, it doesn't have to be a lot, but you want to have somewhere that you can kind of gather everything in one place. Beyond social media and a website, you've got Google listings, you've got LinkedIn, you've got Pinterest. There's so many places you can market yourselves, but we'll get into all that in a later podcast. I get asked all the time, what should I post on my Instagram or on my Facebook or on my YouTube? I would start with a really high quality promo video. The way to do that is to first record the audio. You can either do that at home with a good microphone or a decent microphone, doesn't have to be fancy, and do the editing yourself, or you can record it at home and send it to somebody and have them do the editing and mixing for you, or you can just rent a recording studio for a couple of hours, have them record it, do the mixing, mastering, hand it to you, and it's all done. It's a worthwhile investment because now audio quality is kind of expected. It's no longer unattainable, and so it really sets you apart in a bad way if you don't have good quality audio. When it comes to the video, you're going to take that audio and play it like a playback and play along with it like you're lip syncing while you film the video. I'll go into a lot more of this in future episodes, but a good professional demo video, in my opinion, is going to have 3 different songs or so in different styles to show how much variety you offer. And then you can always make future music videos, full-length videos of single songs in the future. But that original demo video, I would stick with about 3 songs or so. You want to have some photos that are professional and also some that are more live performance shots. And then, of course, posting live performance videos is really, really helpful, but there's a big disclaimer on this one. If you are aiming for a certain clientele, you don't want to scare them off by posting things that don't fit their vision. So if you have a really cool jazz nightclub that you played at, but you are trying to become the most famous violinist for kids' birthday parties, you probably don't want to post that jazz nightclub video because it's not the target audience and it's not going to help your client to envision you at their event. So you want to be really, really picky about what you share. It might be a cool video, but if it's not going to help you get to where you want to be, then I recommend putting it in your stories, but not posting it on your actual account because, again, it's not going to help you get to where you want to be. And you're doing all this work marketing and creating a presence online, but don't underestimate the power of networking and word of mouth. So much business for people who are in this industry is going to be coming from other people they're working with and either repeat clients or somebody who saw you at an event or somebody who told you about somebody who saw you. It's all very connected, and you want to really enforce that and encourage that and try to focus a lot of your energy in that area as opposed to just trying to get new clients out there in the stratosphere. So make an effort to connect with other vendors at the events that you perform at. Make an effort to reach out to wedding planners, event coordinators, venues, other industry professionals, and make them aware of what you do and what you offer. That's a great way to make a personal connection. So I hope I answered your question. What is a glam violinist and how do I become one? Number 1, stage presence. Number 2, song choices. Number 3, getting the right gear. And number 4 is marketing, marketing, marketing. If you enjoyed this podcast, I hope that you'll subscribe. Also, please follow me on Instagram at the Celeste V. That's the Celeste VEE. And also send me a DM while you're there with your questions and any topics that you want to hear more about on future episodes of The Glam Violinist. Seriously, I have so many ideas and things that I want to share, but I'm way more curious about what you want to actually know. I promise you will not be the only person who has that same question, so please ask. I hope you enjoyed this first episode, and if you did, please share it with other musicians who might be interested in gigging and performing. Thank you so much for tuning in to my first episode of the Glam Violinist. I'm so excited you're here, and I can't wait to watch you grow, no matter where you are, on this crazy journey. We are in this together, and I believe in you. Until next time, this is Celeste V reminding you to stay glamorous.